Alright, so this presentation is going to be like kind of a catch-all miscellaneous thing of things that I realized I maybe forgot to do. And some stuff related to the final house. So let us do that. First thing, let's do how to dimension something, because apparently I never touched on that because I'm an idiot. So say you had some shape. I'll do one of those, and we'll do one of these, whatever, sure. It's kind of looking like a dog. Gotta finish it off now. Okay. Good enough. For dimensioning something, you will use dim linear if it's a linear dimension. So say we want it from here to here, you could type in dim linear dimension, from here to here, and you can see it gives you the dimension. If you wanted something that was aligned with an angle, you could do dim aligned, and it'll do it in line with it. Versus if you wanted to do dim linear of the same thing, you can see they're different dimensions as well, because that is just showing that vertical component where this is showing the hypotenuse dimension and its alignment. If we wanted to do the dimension of this circle, you could do dim rad for dim radius. So that'll give you the radius. If you wanted it to be a diameter, you could do dim dia for dim diameter and click on it, and you'll get the diameter. And most of that stuff is right here under the annotate ribbon. You got all these different ones. You could do arcs and other stuff as well, and you could get an angular dimension. I did it in one of them, but the design center for your floor plan, if you do AD center for AutoCAD Design Center, we can, I'm already in this, but if you need to go to it, if you push the home button, ENUS, Design Center, break down this portion of the navigation tree, and you got all these different things that'll have stuff in it. For your house, most of that will probably be either landscaping, kitchens, house designer, or space planner. But you could check them all out. So if you wanted a bed, you could double click and insert it. Now we got a bed. Baby grand piano. Have that baller status. Get after it. Need a bar in your house? Everybody needs a bar in their house. Got a wet bar now. So that's how you insert blocks into your drawing. Annotative scaling. Said I would go over it. We need to do it. Let me open up my title block. So if you're in my title block, what am I doing? Additional homework files? No. I'm being stupid. Back. Oh, because I'm in a drawing. Documents, Rowan University, title block. Okay. So now we got another thing opened. Close that. Say we had this 1 foot by 3 foot box, and for whatever reason we also have a nice circle on top of it as well. So say we wanted to do annotative scaling, and what annotative scaling does is no matter how we do this on the title block, like whatever the text is, so let's do it without it. M text, here's a text, hey, I am text. And let's make it bigger so we could actually see it. 2 inches, sure. And let's do a linear dimension. And again, let's make this bigger. Let's do 2 inches. And let's do a radial dimension. And again, we'll change our text height to 2 inches. So we got this. If we're in our viewport, we are currently at a scale of about 1 to 10. So let's just put it at 1 to 10. You could see the size of the text. It's this size. If I zoom out, so say 1 to 16, that text gets smaller. And it'll continue getting smaller because it's always just that and we're zooming out. What annotative scaling does is you could set whatever you want these dimensions to print out at. So if you wanted this to always print out at 1/8 of an inch, it's going to automatically calculate that text height such that it'll be displayed when it prints at 1/8 of an inch. So let me show you how that is done. So let's delete this because we don't need these. Proof of concept. We are going to go to the Annotate tab and we are going to create a text and we are going to create a dimension. So the way we do this is if we go into Standard, we go to Manage Text Styles. You could see that they already have an Annotative one, and I'm going to create a new one, but I'm going to click on Annotative so when I do it, it brings in those styles. And I'm going to do a regular text size, and you can see it has like the little throwing star John to show you that it's annotative. And I'm going to create one that is called title. Because if you remember from one of those first ones, I told you that regular text size is generally around 1/8 of an inch, which is 0.125. I'm not going to change anything else, but if you wanted to change the font type and styles and crap like that, you can. Current style has been modified. You want to save it? Yes. So then for the title, let's make it 1/4 of an inch. Paper text type, 1/4 of an inch. So we can apply, just double check both. 1/8 of an inch, 1/4 of an inch. Cool. We have now created an annotative text. Now what we want to do is create an annotative dimension. So if we go to Manage Dimension Style, same thing. We could create a new one, and this will be, we'll just do regular or like dimensions or whatever. And you can see this is checked, the annotative thing. We can push continue. And let's go through some of these and make them. Tolerance format, if you wanted to like change the way these look, you could. And this is also a way, if you weren't doing annotative scaling, if you wanted to change the precision of your decimal points, you could do that in here. So for doing lines, I don't think we need to change anything in here. This all looks pretty solid. Symbols and arrows, again, all of this looks pretty solid. Text. So since we're doing a regular text, regular dimensions, we could change this to our regular annotative text. So this will be displaying at 1/8 of an inch. See how it went to 1/8 of an inch? Fit, doesn't matter. Primary units, if you wanted this in engineering units to show inches, you could change this to engineering units and say you only wanted it to show 2 decimal points. You could change those. Alternate units, don't care about. If you want tolerances, you could change that. But that's the main stuff you need to do is the text to regular, the primary units to engineering, and the precision of it. You push OK. We could push close or set as Karen if we wanted to use it. Now let's do some actual actual text now. So right now, our text is default to title. So let's just create a title text. So we'll do mText. It's saying you're using an annotative object. What are you creating at? Right now, we're going to leave it at 1:1 because we don't know what this object's going to end up scaling to. So we'll just say title text, and it's very small right now because actually we do have an idea of what it's going to be at, which is around 1 to 10. And let's do a regular text. So we change that to regular. We will do mText regular text. And if we wanted to see what this is going to look like over on the layout, we could actually change this to 1 to 10 because we actually scaled this over here before, and 1 to 10 was a good fit for it. So we'll leave this over here right now so we could actually put these in good positions. Move this here, move this over top. Let's get a dim red, which right now you can see our dimensions is on the regular, so it should show up a good size. And let's do a dim linear. So we'll put this, say we wanted this dimension. So we have some dimensions, we have some text. Let's see how annotative text works. So now watch this. If we do 1 to 20, you see how this text always snaps back to that same size? Let's do 1 to 40. Boom, same size. 1 to 10, which is a good size for this. Boom, same size. This is the benefit of annotative text, is that you don't have to manually adjust every single text size you use and calculate it out. You could just be like, I want it to be 1/8 of an inch. I want it to be 1/4 of an inch. I want it to look like this. And it just does it for you. And it's wonderful. So that's how we do annotative text. If stuff isn't showing up, a lot of times it's because these throwing stars aren't checked. The main thing that matters, like when you're over here, this doesn't actually matter. Most of the time I recommend people don't change it because they think that if you change this to say 1 to 40, students will think that your scale for this drawing is 1 to 40, when right now you could see our drawing is 1 to 10. It's not 1 to 40. So I'm generally hesitant towards actually saying change this, but if you're dealing with annotative text and you want to see what it looks like, you're going to want to see what your size is over here, and then you can move it because you'll know what it looks like. Okay, so we got annotative text, we got dimensions and text down. Oh, in your site plan, when you do that, let's get out of this. When you go to your site plan, you're going to end up having, like, let's go up, and then let's say we have some other connecting portion, and you had some arc, start and angle, and say it was 50, whatever. You had some arc. You need to figure out how to do your arrow. That is just a leader. It's also an assignment too. You're going to need a leader command, which is going to make like a little arrow. So if you type in leader and then you kind of enter through it and say none, right now this arrow is going to be super tiny. It doesn't look like anything. But that arrow is very tiny. So what you need to do on this is, if you're not using annotative text, you're going to have to change your arrow size. And the way you do that is here. Same thing as the text height. Let's see what happens if we put it at 2. No, still small. Let's try 12. Now you can start to see it. So you're going to have to find that good text size, which is probably going to be like 5 feet, because I believe in that assignment your text height was 5 feet. So just realize that's how you're going to do that, and then you could just add whatever M text you need to add in. Like, I feel like for the delta symbol, you got to right click while you're in the M text and do delta and say 45. I think it was %D. Yeah. So that's your included angle. We're going to need to make this bigger. 12. And you could just end up brute forcing it like that. And that's how that'll end up looking. What else do we need? All right, so let's talk about in terms of the house. We're just going to do like one simple room. So say we have this house. And it's going to be super open concept. We're going to offset this 6 inches. And what we need to make sure is that we trim out these sections. Because if we don't trim out these sections, what's going to happen is we're going to get a region that we don't want. And then you're going to be like, why doesn't this subtract good? So we got this big ass room. We're going to region this. Region. It's going to create 2 regions. We are going to subtract from the outside the inner one. And what you are left with, if we go to conceptual, is the start of some walls. So if we extrude this and say we go up 10 feet, we now have the workings of a wall. And then what we're going to end up doing is cutting out some doors. So say we were in a front face, and say we wanted to create a door. And let's say that door was, I don't know, 8 feet by like 2.5. For the bare minimum, you just need to create the cutouts of your doors. You don't actually even have to put in any doors, but putting in doors is really easy. We made our walls 6 inches thick, so this door could be 6 inches. So now we got this door. And say it was just in the middle of the house. If you wanted it over here, you would have to put a line and kind of move it into place. But let's just say it's in the front. So we do, that's not what I wanted. I wanted to go to 2D wireframe. What we can do is move this into place in the front. Now it's through the wall. But here's what I would recommend. We copy this a whole bunch of times, but specifically after we create an actual door. So say we want 2 door cutouts. One's going to be here. One's going to be here. We could copy another one. We could 3D rotate it for the other. For the other walls, 90-degree turn. We could move this into place. And we could copy another one, the other side. And so I don't have to rotate it again. There goes the second one. All we're going to do is subtract from our walls these 4 doors. We go to that conceptual. Boom. We got cutouts for doors now. Aren't we spiffy? Now say you wanted like a doorknob. Who doesn't want a doorknob? Just think about the shapes. It's essentially a sphere. And I don't know, 1.5 inch diameter? I don't know. Just making this up right now. Now I got a sphere with a 1.5 inch diameter. And let's go the front view. That's 1.5 inch diameter. Let's do a cylinder. That's maybe 0.5. And let's region this circle we made, and let's extrude it. Let's say we're going to extrude it 2.5 inches. Again, you may need to tailor in these, but if we go to a conceptual, that's kind of looking like a doorknob, right? And union that together. We could then end up being like, man, I want to create this layer. Doorknob. And you know what we're going to do to that? We're going to go find our material, map browser, open. We're going to find some type of metal. Aluminum, sure. And let's find a wood for our door. Birch. Nice birch door. So doorknob, and we need to create a door. And what we are going to do is go material, attach, birch to mega door, aluminum to doorknob. We are going to assign this doorknob to doorknob. We are going to assign this door to mega door. If I go to realistic, boom. We're looking good with our doors. I'm going to put it on there somewhere. Create a nice little point. Boom. 3D rotate. 180. Boom. Move this. Give me that center point. Give it to me. Make sure we're actually coplanar. Looking nice. Cool. I extended a line going through this cylinder outside the door, and then I remember putting it in the midpoint, so now I have that connection point where I'm actually going to want to copy this doorknob. And let's 3D rotate that. (3D rotate). 3D rotate. 180. We will move this. Move that. Boom. Boom. Nope, not hidden. Realistic. Boom. Now we got a door. Now we get into that mid-tier, baby. So we can copy this. You created a door. We just move this. I did it from that back end. That was a stupid choice to make. But we got it. We're just going to attach it to our hole positions. 3D rotate that all. Now, word to the wise. Do not union the doorknob to the door, because it can only know one material. So I'll show you in a sec. But if you were to union this together, union. You see how that doorknob turned to wood now? Because it can only know one material. But look at that. We done made some doorknobs and doors in a room in like 20 minutes. Yeah, let's get that. Windows, same thing. Cut out a rectangle, put in a rectangle. In the material browser, they have glass, they got wood, they got all the stuff you need. This is where creating a whole bunch of layers comes into use. You want a floor and you're like, oh crap, I forgot to copy a floor? Easy fix. Copy that. This is where I would explode it, but realize I said before, be careful when exploding, but I know specifically what I want to do here, and I'm creating a copy. I'm exploding this. This is the issue. It creates all these different faces. But what I wanted to do was I wanted to just copy this and take this portion here, so then I could explode this again to just get my outer lines, so I could region it. Region, region, region. So then we could just extrude that, let's say 2 inches, don't really care. And then we could move this underneath. So now we got a floor, real quick. Now, say you wanted to apply different materials to different sides. So let us do Matte Browser open. I think they have paints, wall paint. We'll do navy, since that's easy to remember. And then let's do, they got like brick. Brick killed a guy. What do I want? Stone, glass, plastic, masonry. Masonry CMU. Okay, I can remember that. So we got navy and masonry CMU. If we wanted to apply materials to different faces, we could do solid edit, face, material, and say I wanted all these insides to be that navy wall paint. You click on all the faces, enter. It asks you to enter a material name, navy. And then you could just exit out of this. Boom, boom. We got some navy wall paint now. Let's get rid of this, get rid of this. And then the other thing was the outside. So say we were doing solid edit. And we were doing face, and we were doing material, and we wanted to do the outside. And we were like, cool, and that was masonry CMU. And we could exit, and exit. And now we got some of those masonry CMUs. See those little center blocks? It's hard to tell. There, you could kind of tell in there. Let's just make this a color. Don't care. Ugly ass floor. Whatever. Don't care. House is starting to come together. And eventually what's going to happen is you're going to send me 2 files. One file is going to be combined. So you're going to have one of those sites from assignment 3, I think it is. And you're going to put together both levels of your house. So in these examples, we only made one. But essentially, you're going to have another level and then failed at copying that. You're gonna have a second level. I think I still failed to copy, whatever. And then you're gonna like make your roof, so whatever that ends up looking like. I don't know, whatever. Some whack ass roof. Then you'll do some stuff. You may want to cut out portions of this and do whatever. But you're going to have your combined version. And you'll see all your windows and crap like that. See how I got siding and brick fireplace. It's how my windows look, where you got like the outer thing and you got glass panes in it, stuff like that. You could see through the glass into the house. And then you're going to send me one that's it not combined, so I could easily see into the different floors. So like, I could be like, oh, look at that. Made his own ass table. Huh, come back. It's like, oh, look at them. They put in some extra effort. Look at them building their table. Oh, they put in some cabinets with some little door handles. Like this student actually put in some effort. Oh crap, look at that. Look at that hand-drawn fireplace. All those angles. You could free draw in CAD. Custom mantle. Got a whole bunch of extra effort in here. These are just blocks though, so less effort. But overall, this is looking nice. So that's what I'm looking for in your final project. And if you wanted to, you could add like a pool or a fence. And you need to add like a driveway. Just check what the syllabus says. But you'll end up getting here and you'll end up creating this and it'll be nice. I recommend on your final project that you save it early and often as multiple different names, because it happens every year. There's a student that goes, my file got corrupted. What am I going to do? And it's like, I didn't see your drawing. I don't know what to tell you. So if you save it as different names as you're going along, you'll at least have some previous versions, so it's better to lose 1 day's worth of work than 3 months. That's my philosophy with that. So there may be another miscellaneous odds and ends one. I'm trying to think if there's something else that I need to go over. But I think that's it. Like I went over the 3D fillet, the fillet edge thing, and the other thing. Oh, there is one thing. So say you are creating, Jesus, come on, top. Say you are creating some type of pattern that you had to use an array with. So say like there's that one demo where there's this and we did an array of this and it's from there and cool. If you wanted to cut out this pattern from this circle thing, what we actually have to do is we have to explode this array first. So let me copy this to show you what happens. The left one's going to be the exploded one. So if we first explode, oh, that doesn't need to be exploded. So those are exploded now. So the right doesn't have the exploded array. The left one does. We're regioning everything. You can already see an issue occurring. You see how that array doesn't actually get regioned, where this one does? So if you were to go and try and subtract, these from that, on the left one it's going to work, but if I do the same thing on the right, subtract from this array, if I go to conceptual, it doesn't subtract. So just realize if you use an array, you actually have to explode it first. There may be one YouTube that I end up creating in the middle of the semester after I'm like, oh crap, I totally forgot to document that. But right now I think we're in a pretty good situation. So I'm gonna end this long ass day and play some games.